Amina stood outside the tall gates of Lincoln High School. Her small hands gripped the strap of her worn-out backpack tightly. She took a deep breath and walked inside. It was her first day at this new school. She felt nervous but hoped she would find some friends here. Maybe this school could be a fresh start for her. The hallways were crowded with students chatting and laughing. Amina kept her head low, trying not to draw too much attention. But it was impossible to go unnoticed. A group of girls near the lockers stopped talking and stared at her. Their eyes were cold and full of judgment. Amina's clothes were simple and old. She wore a faded jacket and shoes with small holes. The bullies didn't like that. They whispered to each other, giggled, and pointed at her. "Look at her shoes," one girl said loudly. "Who wears those here?" Another laughed. "She looks like she doesn't belong," a boy said with a smirk. Amina felt her heart beat faster. She wished she could disappear, but she kept walking, head straight, towards her classroom. As she entered the room, all eyes turned to her. The classroom was quiet for a moment. Then a loud voice came from the back. "Hey, new girl, did you lose your way to the thrift store?" a boy sneered. Others laughed. Amina felt a lump in her throat but didn't answer. She just smiled politely and took a seat. The teacher didn't say anything. He looked busy with papers on his desk. No one stopped the bullies. Amina felt small and invisible. During the break, Amina tried to eat her lunch quietly on a bench. Suddenly, one of the girls came close and pushed her hard. "You think you're better than us?" she spat. Amina fell, her lunchbox hitting the ground. Everyone stopped and watched. She picked up her food slowly, tears stinging her eyes, but she didn't cry. The bullies surrounded her, calling her names, making fun of her accent and her old clothes. "Why don't you go back to where you came from?" they said. The words hurt deeply, but Amina stayed silent. A few students looked uncomfortable but didn't step in. The teachers were nowhere in sight. Amina's mother always told her, "Never fight with your fists. Show your strength with your heart and mind." Amina remembered this and took slow breaths to calm down. As the day went on, the bullying did not stop. The same group followed her in the hallways, whispered mean things, and even tried to trip her during gym class. But Amina held her head high, refusing to let them see her sadness. She found a quiet corner in the library to sit and think. She took out a small notebook from her bag. It was her secret journal. She began to write everything that happened, the names, the times, the words. She wanted to remember everything. No one knew what Amina was planning. She was not just a quiet, scared girl. Inside her was a strong fire burning. She would not let this bullying break her spirit. At the end of the day, as the school bell rang, Amina packed her bag slowly. She looked back at the busy classroom and whispered softly to herself, "They don't know what I'm capable of." With that thought, she walked out of the school, ready to face whatever came next. After the first day, Amina's heart felt heavy, but her mind was sharp. She knew she could not let the bullies keep hurting her like this. She wanted to find a way to stop them, but not with anger or fighting. She wanted to be smart. That evening, Amina sat at her small kitchen table, writing in her notebook. She wrote down every detail of the bullying, every name, every word, every moment. She wanted to keep a record, a secret plan. She looked at her mother and smiled quietly. Her mother noticed her serious face. "What are you thinking about, Amina?" she asked softly. "I'm going to make sure they don't hurt me anymore," Amina said with calm determination. Her mother nodded. "Remember, strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet and smart." The next day, Amina walked into school with a new feeling. She was ready. The bullies noticed her too. They expected her to be scared again. But this time, Amina did not look away. She met their eyes calmly and walked past them without a word. During lunch, Amina sat in a different place, far from the bullies. She pulled out her notebook and continued writing. She wrote about what she wanted to do next. She had noticed one thing. The bullies loved attention. They laughed loud and acted tough because they wanted others to notice them. Amina thought if she could turn the attention away from them, maybe their power would disappear. Over the next few days, Amina watched the bullies closely. She listened when they talked, watched how they acted. She learned their secrets. Who was afraid of what, who wanted to be popular, and who was only pretending to be mean. One day, she found out that one of the biggest bullies, a girl named Lisa, was afraid of failing the big math test coming next week. Lisa was always proud and showed off in class, but deep down she was scared. Amina smiled quietly. She had a plan. She started talking to some students quietly, helping them with math after school. She made friends slowly, not with everyone but the ones she trusted. The other students saw Amina was kind and smart, and many began to like her. The bullies began to feel less powerful. Without many people laughing with them, their voices seemed smaller. One afternoon, Lisa came to Amina nervously. "Can you help me with math? I don't want to fail," she said quietly. Amina looked surprised but said, "Yes, I will help you." Over the next week, Amina and Lisa studied together. Lisa's attitude started to change. She stopped teasing Amina so much. But Amina did not forget. She wanted to teach them a lesson, but a lesson of respect, not hate. Meanwhile, the bullies watched this quietly. They whispered among themselves. Some were confused. How could the new girl, who was quiet and shy, become so strong? One day, a group of students asked the principal to watch the bullying more carefully. They said Amina was changing things at school. The principal promised to pay attention. Amina smiled. Her plan was working. She was not alone anymore. But deep inside, she knew the biggest test was coming. The bullies would not give up easily. That night, Amina wrote in her notebook again, "They don't know what I'm capable of, but soon they will learn." And with that, she closed her notebook, ready for the next day. The days passed slowly, but Amina felt her strength growing. She was no longer just the quiet new girl. Now she was someone others noticed for her kindness and intelligence. Her small circle of friends had grown, and even some students who once ignored her began to smile. But the bullies still watched her closely. They did not like losing control. Lisa, the once proud bully, was now quiet, and often looked at Amina with a strange mix of respect and fear. The other bullies, however, were not ready to give up. They whispered plans, hoping to catch Amina off guard. One morning, as Amina entered the school, she noticed a strange silence. The usual loud voices were missing. The hallways felt tense. Something was about to happen. A group of bullies blocked her way near the lockers. Their leader, Mark, sneered, "Thought you could change things here? You don't belong." His friends laughed loudly, trying to scare her. Amina's heart beat fast, but she did not back down. She looked at Mark calmly and said, "I don't want to fight you, I just want respect." Mark laughed even louder. "Respect? You don't get respect here, you have to take it." Amina took a deep breath. "Then I'm ready." Suddenly, a teacher appeared. Mr. Williams saw what was happening and quickly stepped between Amina and the bullies. "Enough," he said firmly. The bullies scattered. After class, Mr. Williams talked to Amina. "You showed great courage today. Not many can stand up like you." Amina smiled but felt worried. She knew this was only the beginning. The bullies might try again, and next time it could be worse. That afternoon, Amina met her friends at the library. They helped her think of new ways to stay safe and strong. One friend, Sarah, said, "We should tell the principal about the bullying. If more people know, maybe they will help." Amina nodded. "I will, but we must be careful. The bullies watch us." She wrote a letter to the principal, explaining everything clearly and calmly. She told the story not to blame, but to ask for help. The next day, the principal called a meeting with teachers and students. She promised to stop bullying and make the school safe for everyone. The bullies looked worried. They saw that things were changing, but some of them, like Mark, did not want to lose power so easily. After school, Mark tried to catch Amina alone. He blocked her way and said, "You think you're better than us? You don't belong here." Amina stood tall. "I belong here just like you. We all deserve respect." Mark sneered but didn't say more. He walked away, but Amina knew the fight was not over. That night, Amina wrote in her notebook, "They want me to be scared, but I'm not. I will show them that kindness and courage are stronger than fear." The next days would be difficult, but Amina was ready. She was no longer just the new girl. She was a girl with quiet power, and she was not going to stop. Amina knew things would get harder. The bullies didn't like being challenged. After the principal's meeting, some students started treating her differently, some with respect, others with suspicion. But Amina was focused. She wanted to stop the bullying once and for all. One afternoon, Amina sat with her friends Sarah and Jamal in the school cafeteria. They whispered quietly, making a plan. Sarah said, "We can't just wait for adults to fix this. We need to show the school what's really happening." Jamal nodded. "We should gather proof. Videos, photos, anything we can use to tell the truth." Amina smiled. "Yes, let's do that. We'll expose the bullies and make sure everyone sees the real story." For the next few days, Amina and her friends watched carefully. They noticed the bullies' patterns. When no teachers were around, the bullies mocked other students, pushed them, and whispered insults. The friends quietly recorded everything with their phones. One day, Amina saw Mark pushing a smaller boy into a locker. She quickly pressed the record button on her phone. The smaller boy looked frightened and did not say anything. Later, at home, Amina felt sad. Why do they do this? What makes them so cruel? Her mother hugged her gently. Some people hurt others because they feel weak inside. But you are strong, Amina. Your kindness will shine through. The next morning, Amina felt ready. She showed the videos to the principal. The school leaders were shocked. They promised to act quickly. But word got out. The bullies found out someone was watching them. They were angry and more careful now. Mark and his friends began whispering rumors about Amina. They called her names and warned her to stop. But Amina stayed calm. She knew she had the truth. One day, Mark cornered Amina again. This time, he was more serious. "Stop this or you'll regret it." Amina looked him in the eyes. "I'm not afraid of you. This ends now." Mark's face twisted in anger, but before he could say more, the principal and some teachers appeared. They had been watching and caught Mark in the act of threatening Amina. Mark was called to the principal's office. The other bullies looked nervous. After that day, things started to change. The school began to feel safer. Teachers watched more closely and students began to speak up. Amina still had to face the bullies sometimes, but she was not alone anymore. Her friends stood by her side. At home that night, Amina wrote in her notebook again, "I am not alone. Together we are stronger." Her quiet power was growing every day. After the principal's action, Amina thought the bullying would stop for good, but she was wrong. The bullies became sneaky. They spread rumors and made quiet threats behind her back. Amina could feel their eyes watching her wherever she went. One afternoon, as Amina walked to her locker, she heard whispers behind her. "Watch your back," someone said softly. Amina turned and saw someone she never expected, Lily, the popular girl in school. Lily was part of the crowd that often laughed at others, but now she looked serious. "Why are you talking to me?" Amina asked, surprised. Lily looked around to make sure no one was listening. "I know what they're doing to you," she said quietly. "It's not right. I want to help." Amina felt confused but hopeful. "Why would you help me?" Lily shrugged. "Because it's wrong to let bullies win, and because I've seen what happens when no one stands up. I want to change that." Amina smiled for the first time in days. "Thank you. We need more people like you." Together, they started planning how to stop the bullies for good. Lily used her popularity to gather students who wanted to help. Slowly, more and more kids began to speak out against bullying. One day, during lunch, Lily stood up in front of the cafeteria and said, "We need to make this school a safe place. No one should be afraid. Let's stand together." The room grew quiet. Then students started nodding and clapping. Amina watched from her table. She felt a warmth in her heart. Things were changing, but the bullies didn't give up easily. That evening, Amina received an anonymous note. "Stop now or else. Her Heart raced, but she did not give in to fear. She showed the note to Lily and her friends. "We will protect each other," Lily promised. The next day, they met with the principal again and gave her the note. The school promised to increase security and watch for any threats. Slowly, bullying started to fade. Amina felt stronger every day, knowing she was not alone. She had friends, allies, and hope. Before sleep, she whispered to herself, "I will not let fear win." Weeks passed since Amina found her unexpected ally in Lily and the group of students who stood with her. The bullying had slowed down, but had not stopped completely. Amina still felt eyes on her, waiting for her to make a mistake. One day after school, Amina was walking home when she noticed something strange. The leader of the bullies, Jessica, was standing near a tree with some other students. They seemed to be hiding something behind the bushes. Curious and a little scared, Amina moved closer but stayed hidden. She heard Jessica talking loudly. "We need to teach her a lesson she will never forget. This time, it will be worse." Amina's heart pounded. She realized the bullying was about to get dangerous. The next day at school, Amina decided to tell Lily and her friends what she had heard. They made a plan to be ready and watch out for any trouble. During lunch, Jessica and her group tried to start trouble again, but this time, Amina was ready. She walked calmly up to Jessica and said, "I know what you're planning. It won't work." Jessica laughed, but the students around her started to turn away. They didn't want trouble anymore. Lily stepped forward and said, "We will not be afraid. We stand with Amina." The principal was informed again. This time, the school took serious action. Jessica and the others were suspended, and the school announced a new anti-bullying program. Amina felt a mix of relief and sadness. She wished things hadn't gotten this far, but she was proud of herself for standing strong. That night, Amina's mother hugged her tightly. "You were so brave today. I'm proud of you." Amina smiled but thought to herself, "This is not the and I have to be stronger every day." After the bullying leader Jessica was suspended, Amina thought things might get better. But school was still full of whispers and sideways glances. Not everyone was ready to accept her yet. One afternoon, as Amina sat alone in the library, a quiet voice came from behind her. It was Mark, one of the students who had never spoken much. "Hey," I wanted to say, "I'm sorry for how some people treated you," he said softly. Amina looked up, surprised. She didn't expect anyone like Mark to reach out. Mark continued, "I've seen what you've been through. I want to help." Amina felt a small spark of hope. "Thank you," she said. From that day, Mark became an unexpected ally. He introduced Amina to a group of students who loved to learn and wanted to make the school a better place. Together, they started a small club focused on kindness and respect. They called it New Beginnings. Slowly, more students joined. They shared stories, helped each other, and stood against bullying. Amina felt her confidence growing. She realized she was not alone anymore. But deep inside, she knew there was still one thing she had to face, the final test of her strength and courage. The day finally came when Amina had to face the last challenge. The school announced a big event, a talent show. It was a chance for students to show who they really were. Jessica, the bullying leader, was back after her suspension. She sneered at Amina, confident she could still intimidate her. But Amina had changed. She was no longer the scared new girl. She was strong, surrounded by friends, and ready to prove herself. When it was Amina's turn, she walked on stage with calm and quiet confidence. She sang a song about pain, hope, and courage. The whole school fell silent. Even Jessica looked surprised. By the time Amina finished, the crowd erupted in applause. Many students cheered for her, their respect clear. Jessica looked down, no longer sure of her power. Amina smiled softly, knowing she had won not just the talent show, but respect and peace. She had turned her pain into strength and showed everyone that kindness and courage could change everything.